of Afghanistan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. Good to be here in World Economic Forum in DC. This is the first time that it had happened here. I had participated. And it's a very vibrant scene, and good to see the achievements of the host countries and also the countries which are pushing, countries and sectors and entities in private sector which are pushing for better lives for the people around the world. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, two main focus this year. One is the peace process, which is supported by the United States, and talks are underway between Taliban representatives in the UN, the US. Some progress, but still a lot of work needs to be done. Then the other side of it is the elections. It's presidential elections plus provincial council elections in 2019. We are working on both tracks, and we have not conditioned one to the other because it's according to the Constitution. This year there has to be presidential elections. Preparations are underway. I'm one of the candidates. Campaign has not started, otherwise I would have switched to campaign mode. And there are other candidates as well, and we hope that the upcoming elections is better as far as transparency of the elections is concerned. The people of Afghanistan deserve this. Talking about the peace process, one side is the Taliban plus the terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and the others, which Taliban have been supporting. Daesh is also in part of the country, but in a small part of the country. So the fight in Afghanistan, the war in Afghanistan is against Daesh, Al-Qaeda plus Taliban, but now Taliban have entered negotiations with the United States. They have not yet to enter negotiations with the Afghans, with the Afghan government and others. This is the key sort of milestone. Should this happen, this will be the start of a peace process. This year, it is already 40 years since the start of the war in Afghanistan. And our people have suffered in many ways. But in the past 18 years, since the start of the engagement of the international community, things have changed. There have been lots of positive changes in the lives of the people, especially in the fields of education, democratic process, human rights, women's rights, freedom of speech, the role of the private sector, very vibrant civil society altogether. These are things which have changed in Afghanistan, and also the role that Afghanistan is playing as a connecting bridge between South Asia and Central Asia. There have been many trade and transit agreements. Infrastructure has been built in order to facilitate connectivity. In terms of services in the areas of communication, there has been a lot of investment in our natural resources. There is some foreign direct investment, but not as much as the potential is there.
Thank you, Chief Executive. You touched on what I believe is a very important point. You mentioned education. We heard this very morning from the King of Jordan, from the UN Secretary General, the importance of including the young people in these developments. What would your message be to the young people of Afghanistan?
The younger generation already, they have given us their message. Yes, and they want peace. At the same time, they want to enjoy their rights and an environment that they can achieve the potentials that they have. In many areas, they have proven their abilities and capabilities in the field of science, robotic science, in the field of telecommunication, IT. And also they are part of the private sector in that sector as well. and they are very active also politically, and social media. In the social media, they keep us accountable as the government, and sometimes they set the trend for us.
Yes.
And they deserve peaceful life. Hopefully, we will be able to deliver to them.
Yes. Thank you. I think many, especially of the young people watching, cannot even imagine a war going on for 40 years. That is a lifetime of war. So it's very, very important, these messages. You also mentioned the private sector. Now, obviously, at this meeting here, there are about 800 roughly CEOs of regional, of international companies. What's your message to them when it comes to Afghanistan as a place to invest?
Yes, while I described the situation as a whole, but at the same time, we have developed an environment, or have created enabling environment for the private sector development. And we do consider private sector as a partner in growth, and they are playing their rightful role. And increasingly, opportunities door is opened for the private sector in different ways. Public-private partnerships, joint ventures are taking place to look at the potentials that Afghanistan presents in terms of natural resources, renewable energy, a land bridge between South Asia and Central Asia and West Asia. I think it's time to look at it seriously in terms of the private sector, and we hope that we will see those potentials developed.
Thank you very much. I know you have a very important meeting coming up. You are actually meeting the King of Jordan.
His Majesty, yes.
His Majesty, the King of Jordan. I'm not going to ask you what you will discuss with him. That's between you and His Majesty. But the World Economic Forum as an international organization, what would your homework be to us to tell people in the world about Afghanistan?
First of all, about Jordan and the leadership by His Majesty King Abdullah II in a challenging environment, in challenging times. His Majesty has presented a model of peaceful coexistence, and also utilizing the maximum potentials which are there in the interest of the people, but not just the people, but the region and beyond that. I would say one of the themes of today's discussions was this human resources in younger generation. We saw today, we listened to the two young Jordanians, which were presenting the face of their country to the world. We have these examples in our country. The country has potentials for investment in natural resources, energy, renewable energy, as well as services. And also, it has a great potential for tourism when times comes. So it's important that we see the opportunities as they are, though the challenges sometimes might prevent us from looking at it thoroughly, but the opportunities are there.
Yes. And at that point, I want to invite everybody who's watching online and watching maybe on YouTube, go and search for the Afghan Women's Orchestra. They were wonderful stars in the annual meeting in Davos 2 years ago, wonderful ambassadors for this great country. And with that, and mindful of your full schedule, thank you very much, Chief Executive. Thank you very much for being here in the room, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.